I said that minor pentatonic scale, the A minor pentatonic scale, really works pretty well over it. And if you listen to Trey's solos in this, a good portion of what he plays is right out of that scale, especially when the solo really gets rocking. But there's a couple of intricacies of the chord progression that you're not picking up on by using that scale. So this, to me, is a perfect opportunity to use the cage system to help guide yourself around. So as I was alluding to at the beginning of the video, when you play through that chord progression, I'll just take a look at the fifth position here right now. You can play the whole first part of that chord progression right up until the G chord, right here in the fifth position. A, C, D, C, F, A, and then drop down for the G. So what I want to do, and this trick works really well for me, is I use the A minor pentatonic as sort of my general framework for the solo. But then each of the chords in this chord progression has a note, or maybe two notes, that are not part of that A minor pentatonic scale. And so in order to sort of capture the sound of each of those chords, I look for the single note in each of those chords that doesn't fall within the minor pentatonic scale, if that makes any sense. All right, so here's my minor pentatonic scale. When I play the A chord, most of that chord's right in there, but this C sharp note is a sort of conspicuous absence from that minor pentatonic scale. So that's a C sharp here on the 6th fret, 3rd string. Can also go an octave above that, 9th fret, 1st string, or an octave down on the 4th fret, 5th string. Right, that's a C sharp note. So when I'm playing the A chord, I'm again thinking within the context of this minor pentatonic scale, but I try to target that C sharp note. Now, the C chord, interestingly enough, is completely contained within that A minor pentatonic scale, and in fact you might remember that the A minor pentatonic is virtually the exact same thing as the C major pentatonic. A minor and C major are relative minor and major. But the A chord has that C sharp note, and so to contrast with that, then I'll target the C note over the C chord, which is over here on the 5th fret of the 3rd string, or an octave above on the 8th fret up here, or an octave below on the 8th fret down here. So I'll play the A chord and I'll target the C sharp, and then when it moves to the C chord, I'll target that C natural. Now the D chord comes along. And again, most of this D chord is right here in the A minor pentatonic scale again. But this F sharp note, which is the 3rd of the D, is not in that scale. So again, to capture the sound of that D chord, I'll try to target that note. So let me put those first 3 chords together now. So I got the A, and then the C, and then the D, back to the C chord. Now the F comes up. And again, that F chord, 2 out of the 3 notes in that F chord are right here in the A minor pentatonic scale again. The one note that's not is the F natural. So that falls here on the 6th fret of the 2nd string, or an octave down from there on the 8th fret of the 5th string. So when that chord comes up, I'll try to target that note. And then after that, it's going to go back to the A, so again, I'll target the C sharp. So let me kind of play through all of those a little bit now. And then finish it off when it goes to the G chord by dropping down a whole step to the G here and really just playing some sort of a generic blues lick over that G. And then it moves back up to the A and starts over. So to recap real quick, as each of those chords go by, I'm thinking as my overall frame, I'm thinking of this A minor pentatonic scale. Again, what I like to do, what I'm doing here, and I like to do this all the time, is I like to frame things around something that's really familiar to me. And most guitar players are really familiar with that pentatonic scale. But then I look for the note within each chord that differentiates it from that scale. So in the A chord, I'm targeting the C sharp. On the C chord, all of those notes are in there, but I do go for that C natural to contrast it with the C sharp that was in that A chord. So I'll target the C natural in the C chord, target the F sharp in the D chord, and then the F when the F chord comes around, and then I drop down a whole step and follow that G chord by playing a lick in G. So I'm going to start up a backing track here, and I'm going to solo a little bit over it, and I'm going to try to do exactly what I've been talking about and see how well this works out. So in that little excerpt, I was trying to keep things pretty simple and be real clear about targeting the notes of each chord that I wanted to target. I also want to reiterate, though, that this is really a straightforward rock and roll song, and there is nothing wrong with playing minor pentatonic. And in fact, the minor pentatonic stuff works really well over that whole chord progression, right up until the G. You do kind of need to follow that G. So you end up playing A minor pentatonic over the whole A, C, D, C, F, A, and then the G comes around and you want to drop down a whole step and follow that G chord a little bit. Let me show you what that sounds like real quick. And in fact, if you listen to Trey playing his solo over that song, really a lot of it is minor pentatonic. You can just make things a little more interesting by targeting some of those notes that are not part of the minor pentatonic scale.